Frankie, Marika, Lucinda, Barney, Anna Maria, Neo, Presence, of course, presence begins by just showing up and being. Presence is a practice we'll explore, become intimate with, take apart, put back together, practice feeling it in our body, in our senses, in our sensation. Develop an inner channel of awareness. Practice presence while we engage. So we pay attention, we engage, we're present. Presence is a heartfelt, it's mind awake, it's engaged. In some ways, it's a nothing state, in that our awareness of self is in a fearless place, it's in a loving place. It's in a place in which the anxieties about the future don't distract us. It's a place where our regrets of the past don't pull us. It's where we're able to watch the distractions arise and pass by. It's a place in which we can consider all things, but not attach ourselves to anything. It's really very engaged with what is present with us. So it's a state in which we can be so whole, so conscious of our sense of self as a soul being, that the soul of that which we are present with shows itself through the person, the activity, the challenge that we're involved in. It's an amazing state. It's a state of alignment in which we do feel that we're body, we're ego, but we're also high self, soul self, that we're connected to whatever the universal field of consciousness is that permeates and coordinates every aspect of life. So it becomes a spiritual practice that we choose consciously. So however you begin, each of you, on this process of presence, of presencing, find a reference point, find a time when you were yourself, peaceful, centered. Find a time to explore when in relationship with someone else you were present. Presence amplifies itself in relationship, in dialogue. Dialogue itself is a process of presencing, because in the reflection back and forth through the speech, uh, the false and the true unwind. The transformational impulses emerge and express. And so we're vigilant, we watch, and we can see them. Because instead of trying to manipulate, control, we're engaging and being present. So we're in the flow of this process. So this is the beginning of our section on presence. And it's more now to open our curiosity, open our sensation of this. In a way, presence is a way for the universe to fill the moment of where we're relating to whatever is going on, whatever is. But right now, I'm talking and you're watching and listening. And it gives us a way to be present as well, regardless of different times each of you check in. This, whatever this consciousness is that we call presence, it's both our being present, it's being what is present. But when I speak of presence, it's something bigger that comes and occupies the space with us and begins to open our faculties so that we can be in touch with how reality is emerging in the moment, what the truth is, what the action is that best serves the challenge at hand. So it's a very different consciousness than a reactive consciousness, an adversarial consciousness. When we really look at our existence, our nature, it's quite profound. These bodies are clearly this bilateral, symmetrical by design. They're made for living in duality and propelling ourselves and reaching out and doing in a world that's duality. But in our center, there's certain organs that, like the heart, that's single. So when we're present, we're really a transcendent consciousness engaged in the creative process of the moment. It's a process we can track. It's a state of being we can track by our feeling in our body and our awareness of it. The foundation for presence is loving. The foundation for the foundation provided by fear takes us away from presence, takes us into separation, takes us into adversity, takes us into combat, takes us into winning and losing. Neither of these are a good state or a bad state. However, my experience of presence is it allows me to work within a world of adversity from a position of peace, from a position of wholeness, from a position that is in touch with all that's going on. Now, does that mean I could tell you all that's going on? No, there's an intelligence in presence that mediates itself. So, in the course of transformational teaching, learning, and transformational leadership, presence is a real essential quality. I don't know if I'm always in such presence, but I find that as time goes on, and I've been working with this a while, that it's easier and easier to live in a way that's not reactive. There doesn't seem to be so many buttons these days. So there's not so much to pull me off my center or out of my presence. Consequently, I can always stay in my power. And that power is loving. That power is intuition. That power is joy. That power is grace. It puts me in a very different relationship to those things I do, those projects I become involved with, those activities I engage. It puts me in a transformational relationship to everything I do. So don't rush to finish the written assignment for the next 2 weeks. Take it slow. Be present with it. Reflect. Research your own life, your own being, your own way of doing things. To see how presence works. It's one of those things that is a mystery as well as a tangible thing. When I'm present with someone, I feel that relationship build. There's something about presence that resonates soul to soul and starts drawing out that quality of soul in the other person. And as this field builds, it opens up the resistance, it opens up the blind areas, it starts deconstructing in our dialogue the habits of mind that limit us, the limitations that come through our ancestry, the limitations that come through our cultural perceptions, our tribe, our nation. It begins to loosen these just automatically. So presence becomes like a magic elixir that we mix into the alchemistry of our conversation. It starts bringing the deepest aspect of consciousness into our vibration, into our context, and reframing our reality. So, let's take a moment then to practice. I have a little process, an inner process that I'd like us to do. So let's close our eyes. Be aware of the space you're in. Be aware of your body. Fill that space with your loving. Be aware of your breathing. It's very natural. It's very natural for us to move into a deep connection and discover this mystery of ourselves, that we're in some ways a bridge between heaven and earth. I know that's kind of a symbolic statement, but it play in the imagination that because we can reach up to the highest, but we're also, as physical beings, anchored into the most dense. So we have the capacity to bridge these two. So how does that bridging work? Let's take a journey inside and use the imagination to engage ourselves in a certain way energetically, which begins to shift our psychology, our sense of self, our sense of spirit. So imagine that there's a column of light that comes into the top of your head, goes down to the center of your body, and down into the center of the earth. And as you move into your awareness into this column of light, take yourself up. See how high you can go in your sense. But perhaps you're seeing, perhaps your imagination. But it's just sense. Or just imagine. What is the highest state? Where's the source of this all? How far does this go? Into these higher awarenesses of self. Depending on how sensitive or where you are in your body, you'll feel yourself engage these levels, this deep high state. At the same time, you're also grounded into the earth. Feel the earth, perhaps beneath your feet. But then imagine this light goes deep into the fabric of the planet and into the spirit of the planet. They say the planet has a soul. What's it like? So in this awareness, begin to breathe through it. Reach up above you and on your in-breath, bring this loving down through your consciousness, through your body, into your heart. When you breathe in, breathe this loving up from the heart of the earth, up through you, into your heart. And just hold that. Then on the exhale, let this energy go out to every cell of your body, into your space, and to move out in a radiant pattern around you, filling the context, filling the environment in which you're living. And listen before you breathe in. Then breathe in again, pulling the energy in through you, through your heart, pausing for a moment to listen, exhaling from your heart out through your cells, through your body, through your space. Hold your breath, pause, listen, then start the cycle again. So we begin to exercise this flow of energy, what we call presence. As you do this, there may be distractions or thoughts come to mind. Don't fight them. Just notice and return to your breathing. Just follow your breathing. Now let's add an element. As you breathe in, bring a red energy in through and around you and out into your space, into your heart. And just breathe this red energy as a frequency of life, as a frequency of energy, of generation. As a sentient aspect of creation, part of the fabric of creation. It's a living energy. So you're breathing in the red. Breathe out the red. Now gradually shift over to yellow, to orange. Breathe in the orange. In and around and through you. Then yellow. Then green. Notice if there's any difference in the way you experience this energy, as a sensation in your body, as a feeling around you. See what images might arise within you. And go on to blue. Then to indigo. And purple. And white. And then colorless. Breathe this transparent energy, invisible energy. Breathe it into your heart and around you. And move into that state. And it's this kind of space, as you practice, that you can transfer yourself from your ego into your soul. Soul is above the invisible worlds. The ego is of the worlds of reflected light and duality. The soul is of the world of unity, of transcendence and wholeness. Not just transcendence in the terms of above, but transcendence in the terms of deeper, of all the way through everything, unimpeded. This is the way of the love. This is the way of loving, in the way it supports life. It's our source and our self. It is the foundation of presence. So just stay with that experience for a while, even after you open your eyes.